Hello, this is Skylit Lake reading Wine and Dine in Spite by Vienna Azu. Chapter 8 Burning Passion. On most days, Izuku doesn't mind surprises. This is in direct contradiction to his affinity for normal days. He realizes that the intricacies of normal days are more complicated than he could possibly hope to describe in the time allotted, so he'll just leave it at that. He doesn't mind surprises, despite his love for normal days. Those surprises don't usually involve his fake boyfriend's father, however. They're sitting at the kitchen table, quiet breakfast between them, and the TV lolling in the background, when he hears the telltale ting of Shouto's front door ringer going off, which is certainly very strange, considering Shouto had not mentioned inviting or having any guests over anytime soon. He watches as Shouto stands up from where he's seated, eyes a little startled, and white t-shirt weighing down on his shoulders. The two-toned boy walks away from where the two were sitting. He watches him peek through the peephole on their front door, before he frowns deeply and releases what can only be described as an annoyed huff. Izuku goes to sit next to Shouto by the time he sits back down and starts to run his hand up and down his arms. "Is everything okay?" Shouto nods before going back to his breakfast, reaching up to mess his curls around. "Yeah, just my dad is at the door and..." Izuku freezes. "What?" He's outside, doesn't look too happy. "Oh, won't he come in anyways?" "Yes, I will," comes the voice behind them. Izuku goes to step away from Shouto at the last second before his arm is firmly grabbed by him, pulling him back to where he was, shoulder to thigh with Shouto, hand on shoulder. Shouto, no, if he has a problem, he can leave. An awkward silence settles over them as Endeavor glares at Shouto once more. "You insolent child, you won't even answer the door for your father." Maybe if my father didn't call me an insolent child at every opportunity he has, I would answer the door for him. He glares. "Shouto, please," tries Izuku. "And what is he still doing here? I would have thought he'd be gone by now, that you'd see the reason in what I'm saying," growled Endeavor. "Shut up, old man. Izuku has treated me better in the past week than you ever did in the first 15 years of my life. Why you..." Endeavor's beard flares up in anger, just as Shouto's right side begins to freeze over, and Izuku barely has half the mind to move in between the two of them before the situation worsens. Maybe we should all calm down?" "Stay out of this," says Endeavor. "Izuku, go back to your room," says Shouto at the same time. No, to both of you. I'm sorry if I can't get along on most days, but I think we got off on the wrong foot. My name is Izuku Midoriya. I know who you are. You're All Might's son. Izuku deflates in exasperation. "I'm actually not..." "I can't believe this," says Shouto. "You're bringing up your weird All Might thing into my relationship?" You'll find nothing good in anyone related to that man, gritted Endeavor. Shouto's left side warms up against Izuku's thigh in what he has learned to recognize as pure, unfiltrated anger. Izuku sneaks a hand up to the nape of his neck and rubs small circles into the short hair there. He feels all the energy dissipate from Shouto and gives a sigh of his own. "Why are you here?" asks Shouto. "I was going to bring you to the agency just for office work. The school tells me you are not allowed to do any patrolling or hero work, but I find that a stupid restriction. You should still be getting work done over the break." Izuku and Shouto stare at each other. Izuku hopes his eyes don't sparkle too much at the prospect of going to a hero agency. "Okay, I'll go with you," says Shouto. "If, and only if, I'm allowed to bring Izuku along." "What? I can't possibly allow that." "You're gonna have to if you have any hope of me going with you to the agency." The two of them stare at each other with an intensity only two fire wielders of the same blood could have. An intensity Izuku could never imagine with his own father. After what feels like an eternity of staring and quiet fighting, he sees Endeavor's shoulder rise and fall. "Fine, but he mustn't touch anything." Shouto raises both eyebrows and sneers in victory. "We'll go then." "Okay, I'll wait for you in my car," says Endeavor. "No need, we'll take the train." "You will not." "I assure you, we will." So they do. The Endeavor Agency is a minimalist and as modern as Izuku expected, with its sleek black floors and its silver metal walls. It's expected of a pro hero like him, of course, someone who has built his reputation upon being absolutely steadfast and a pillar of stoicness. He supposes that's what comes with fame. They walk into the agency, Shouto's hands in his pocket, and Izuku shyly trailing behind him. He sticks close to Shouto, close enough to feel the odd heat that radiates from Shouto's body, and close enough to feel the energy that seems to pull him toward him. They walk together along the quiet halls of the agency until they get to what seems like a conference room. Shouto opens the door to the room and leads himself and Izuku into it. Izuku stands at the door as Shouto sits on the round table. "So," starts Shouto, "do you like it?" "Like it?" "The agency," he says. "Thought you might like it." Izuku looks around in an attempt to form a different opinion on the agency. "It's, interesting," he settles for. "Very much like Endeavor, I'm afraid." Shouto smiles at him and hiccups something of a laugh. "Yeah, that's a way to put it," he says. "Do you like it though?" "Yeah," answers Izuku without hesitation. "It's the first and only hero agency I know." "Well, I don't like it," says Shouto. As he said, it's very much Endeavor. Izuku mentally hits himself. "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean..." "It's okay. I'm glad you like it," he says. "Maybe, if you like it, I can see some good in it too." They smile at each other. What follows is a few hours of Izuku and Shouto going around the agency. More than anything, Shouto trying to show Izuku all his favorite secluded hiding spots and all the best places to lurk when trying to listen in on a conversation. They run across the halls, hand in hand, and with joyous faces as they savor the hours of the very few days they have left together. The very few days of relative joy that they'll have. They hide in a corner, away from prying eyes and all things in their surrounding that intimidates them. They hide in a corner, giggled mutters exchange between the two of them as they laugh at the silliest things they can think of. Silence falls over them as Izuku, laughter slowly dies in his throat. His pinky sits next to Shouto's on the floor, legs pressed against each other and head inches apart. "I like this," says Shouto, smiling. "I like it a lot." "Like what?" asks Izuku. "I like sitting next to you, laughing next to you." Izuku smiles back at him. "I like it too." Some more silence. "It's been a long week," he finally comes up with, a way to bring the attention back from the complicated dynamic they've come up with, a way to forget about the predicament they'll be faced once they have to leave the comfortable bubble they've made for themselves. "It really has," says Shouto. "I don't want to be here." But Izuku doesn't really know where here is. At the agency? On holiday break? Next to Izuku? "It'll be okay, right? It's just one more day." Shouto goes fully silent, and his face takes on something Izuku can't recognize. And it dawns on Izuku, it's just one more day. One more day where Shouto will be Shouto, not just Todoroki. One more day where he gets to wake up to a mat of red and white hair and an oddly cold breath next to him. The very few days before they have to go back to their normal lives, to their usual day-to-day, to their mutual understanding of what it means to be unique, yet their inability to express it to one another. "Do you," starts Izuku, "do you think things will still be like this once we get back?" Shouto seems to ponder for a second. His fingers idly trace patterns on the floor next to Izuku. "I hope so," he says. Izuku doesn't say anything. Shouto's pinky makes its way across the gigantic 2-inch gap in between their hands. He lays his finger to where the sides of both their fingers touch each other. A clear invitation for physical contact, yet enough space to where he could back out if he wanted. A decision to make, a gap to bridge. Some other metaphor for connection that Izuku can't think of right now, but that would still be useful in describing the emotional distance and fragility that separates the two of them. And it's his decision. It's his decision to accept this. It terrifies him. He lays his finger on top of Shouto's slowly and hesitantly, like a fawn drawn to water in the middle of an open field, like the shaking finger of a piano in the late afternoon as you try to remember the notes to Fur Elise, like when you hold your pen between your shaking fingers as the pain in your hand increases, like the way you carry a butterfly that sits on your red and white hair as you try to move around the school. His finger lays on top of Shouto's, and it's a scary motion. Despite the fact they've slept together, danced together, and existed together for months, it's scary because this time to Izuku it means something. This is where the border between friendship and romance falters. This is where their fake relationship is put through its greatest test, greater than their family, greater than their friends. This is where their fake relationship is faced with something eternally larger, their own feelings. Shouto's finger flips over and curls around his, interlacing them as they sit speechless and with only the distant yells of Burnin in the background. The silence in the agency is not one Shouto has ever liked, but maybe here, with Izuku by his side, he can learn to embrace it. The next day goes by far quicker than Shouto can even begin to imagine, and by the time he's even beginning to think about telling Izuku what he feels, there's a suitcase packed on his well-made bed, and a lack of an extra toothbrush in his bathroom. Next thing he knows, they're on the train back to Izuku's house, and then he's dropping him off and waving goodbye at him, with the melancholy of a long-lost lover. To an end comes everything Shouto has held dear for the past week. To an end comes their short-lived relationship. He's left with a feeling of emptiness to his chest, a need to reach out and run back to Izuku's house, an urge to sweep him off his feet and love him, mind, body and soul, an urge to shout at the world his love and make a big, stupid declaration of love, an urge he has bottled up and sworn off years ago. But he doesn't, because he doesn't know what he'd do, and so they move on, they keep on living, they go to school. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is a very somber chapter. Yep. Anyway, I've been reading through your comments from the last chapter, well, singular comment in my case, and yes, I shall be speaking in a more slower, dramatic tone, though for the future I'll be releasing like a new fanfic, and that fanfic is way too funny for me not to laugh, and I get way too excited, so I end up just talking really fast. Anyway, this is not the end of this series. The author Vienna has said it's going to be 10 chapters long, so there's 2 more chapters after this. So yeah. Anyway, go and check out the fanfic itself, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!